Welcome back to Behind the Screen, the show where we go past the content, get to know the creator behind it. Today's our special guest. We have a unique lane for himself, blending creativity, nostalgia, and a business into something that actually stands out. You might know him as Unstable King on Instagram, but behind that name is the mind behind VCR Zone, a brand that taps into a whole different feeling and era. I love that about you, that you do take a lot of passion and time into your craft and want to make sure that your customers are satisfied. I
Yeah.
can see it too, because when I look on your Instagram, I mean, endless testimonials that you're even like, hey, if you think this is cheeky,
Yeah.
like go check the testimonials. You had like an endless. I mean, I was scrolling through so many videos of
Yeah.
how many people were just like amazed by your content of stuff that you make and produce.
Yeah, that's my kind of philosophy with it is, some people buy a big load, and it doesn't cost them a lot because they have a lot of money. And then some people like message me and they're like, I've been wanting to buy something for like 2 years and I finally got a bit of spare money. And it is like it's like they might be making the choice that month of like the last thing they get with their paycheck is to buy VHS off me, so I just want that to get there and be, and it's sort of their favorite thing, and this is something I have to remember because I only really make stuff that I love, but usually people buying it love it even more and no more. And like really like, like things like if I do an anime and this like the sub, if like I use the wrong subs, like, it's like, whereas I'm not even aware there's like 5 different types of subs from 5 releases over the years. And so I have to spend ages like researching this stuff because I know there's going to be that one person who's like, oh, I bought the set, but it's the bad subs, So I have that thing in my mind that I always want that person who spent the last, like I treat everything like that because I just want them to open it and be like, I want to keep this forever kind of thing.
Do you feel like you're in a prime era of this kind of VHS and cassette that you're bringing back? It's kind of being a rebirth of life, because like a lot of people in the younger generations are going like the millennials did vinyl, right?
Yep.
Now it looks like maybe the Gen Zs are going even a step further than that and doing like VHS and cassette.
Yeah. There is a real niche down. Like, how niche can you go? Like, and VHS is an interesting one because the quality is shit. It's like, as in, it's not quite shit if like, say, if you did a 90s anime and put it on VHS, or it was made for like the it's 4:3 format and it's kind of made for CRTs, and things like that. But yeah, it's, vinyl, there was always that thing of like, is the quality better than digital? Like there was always an argument to be had, at least, you'd be like, oh, it's better than MP3, maybe not FLAC and all this different stuff. Whereas with this, there's no argument to be had. And that's why I find it such an interesting one, because I personally, I an example, like I did Dune on years ago. I made a Dune VHS and someone sent me an email being like, oh, I've just bought Dune. Like, I'm so psyched to watch it for the first time. And I was like, if you are going to watch this on VHS for the first time, I'm not selling you it. I was like, there's like, you cannot watch Dune, like
it's doing a disservice.
It's a disservice. Yeah. I was like, I can't, this like wide kind of like, it's so I do think it's interesting with how far back we're going. And for me, it's, I think there's just an age where people in their 30s into 40s who grew up with it, who like have money now, but kind of want to be nostalgic, but they don't want to, there's that mix of mixing the modern with the old and the collectability of it. And there's something about a tape and holding it, that is different. And that it does bring back a real nice feeling. And I love it, but at the same time, I love that they play, but I'm more about the display personally. I love that they play. I think it's really cool. But I'm not, and I like the idea of, I'm more like kind of like, I like the idea of mixtapes, like see it as an ambient. So I made a video about it recently, kind of, if you have a CRT in your space, see it a bit like a fireplace, it's like this nice thing and you put something on and it's just on and you're not really watching it, but it's bringing an ambience. I think there's something really good in that. Yeah, it's an interesting one though. It's definitely coming back, like, and young people even who kind of didn't even really experience it are like getting stuff and getting into it, which is really interesting.
I saw you do like this VCR mod
where
you have like a see-through VCR on I think it was on TikTok. And like, can you explain your thought process in making that? And like, it was a very successful video too. Got a lot of
that was my
likes
first, I think that was my main viral video I've ever had. I had some like famous people follow me from that. Like people like, it was crazy. Like I've never really had videos do well before. I've had a couple of ones, but yeah, that was the video that I think has really, like, I think I got like 15,000 followers off it. That just is the first thing I've ever felt like, wow, this social media is something, and there's an idea I've had for years, and yeah, I was chatting to someone about it on Instagram who said to me like, "Oh, I think I made one where I screwed a VCR with the top off. I used to always take photos of my tapes in VCRs with the top off because they look so cool, and you know how the tape connects and pulls through. It is such a nice mechanism. It's just a really like mix of analog and kind of the circuit boards. All of it is. I've always found it quite a beautiful piece of technology, and someone was chatting to me about, oh, and when I posted just a picture of me with the top off, a few people said, oh, you should do a mod, you know, something. And I had thought of acrylic, but I'd always in my head been like, I wanted to bend it. And to be honest, I'm not good at that stuff. Like I'm not that sort of guy. You know, I don't really mod stuff. I've never done that kind of stuff. And I was just like, I'm going to make a video and do it finally because I wanted it for my wall. And yeah, it was much easier than I expected. And I made that quick video. I was like, I'm going to film it properly. It was one of the first times I've had like cameras from the top and another, you know, all that stuff. Like,
yeah,
and
multiple shots.
yeah, and it was quite scary because it took me like a day, you know, and like I've got 3 kids and like I'm busy, and to take a day out for content, it's never worked out before. If I spend ages on content, I'm like, well, no one watched that. So unless I like pay to boost it, it's pointless day. And,
Right.
you know, it's always been that for so many years. So I've found it hard to justify making videos. But what was nice with it now is I think making content can boost me to do projects. There's this like back and forth of, well, I want to make this thing because it's cool, but I don't quite have a reason to make it. But if I film it, I have a reason to make it. And then if you know, that it's like, it can give me the energy to do stuff. And that was the first time that has been successful. And yeah, like, it's one of those things that takes off, but it was just an idea from 4 years ago. Like I've had a few like that, like the clamshells I've just released, you know, I had that idea 3 years ago, but it's one of those things you're like, why didn't I do it then? You know, I've only just done it now. And yeah, it's, yeah, but it was cool. It was really good to have that take off.
No, it's amazing too. Do you ever think you might end up selling like the modded VCRs as
People
well?
have asked, yeah, people have asked. The hard part about it is things like guarantees and how long they last for and stuff like that. We're working on with my friend Drew, who works with me a bit. He's quite into 3D printing, so we're thinking of like what else, like even like kind of bringing mini models to it, like kind of like maybe a creature with the VCR around it, you know, and you put the tape into the creature's mouth, and actually like making mods like that. And being the only thing with them is it's the time it takes. Like I think the acrylic mod could be viable because it doesn't, you could get a quick kind of turnaround with it. It's just one of those things I'm not good at letting people down, like people who buy stuff. It's really important to me that people are happy, like 100%, like beyond their expectations. So say if I sent one and it stopped working in 2 years, I'd feel like crap, but I can't guarantee it will work forever because it's 30 years old, you know? So it's like, so it's one of those things that I'm like, yeah, that sort of stuff scares me because I take the weight of it on quite a bit.
Were you always into like VHS and cassettes and kind of like this analog type of technology, or is this something that just later on your years that maybe your children, you expose it to them and you're like, hey, check this out? Or like, where did this whole passion behind the analog stuff come from?
I think I saw one guy do it. You know, I collected vinyl for a bit. I've always kind of been a bit of a collector. I collected comics as a kid, and I had a big comics room in my attic, and I collected like basketball stuff. You know, like I've still got a big copper cutter down here of Michael Jordan from when I was a kid, and I always had that collectible thing. But people didn't really collect stuff like when I was younger. It wasn't quite a thing, you know. Like I only had one friend at school into comics, and it wasn't kind of done like video games. Then, you know, no one played video games. It's such a different time. But and then once I had kids, I kind of stopped collecting stuff just because I was like, money, you know. I was like, I couldn't justify it really. And it's then you start being like, oh, we could take them out somewhere nice this weekend. I could buy a vinyl. I'm like, of course I'm going to take them out somewhere to the cinema, or, you know, or do something nice. So it became a back and forth. So when I saw this guy making the VHS, I was like, wow, like I love that idea, because VHS, I'd kind of forgotten, you know, and I was like, that's such a cool thing to do the modern with it. So I was like, when I made my first couple of ones, you know, and I remember I was shaking when I got the printing in. Like I was so excited and nervous about it. It was such a weird feeling. And I remember cutting it for the first time, and yeah, it was really a lot of adrenaline. And when I first made my first one and put it on the shelf like that, and I just was like, wow, I've made this, you know, that feeling you've made something. And I was like, this is mine. And there were like I said, there was a couple of guys who had done something that, and it was like, So that just made, I just really like that idea. And to be honest, I would have kept doing it. I think I wanted to, my idea was to have a shelf full of VHS for all the kind of films that have moved me over time, and series and stuff. And there was two things also, like legacy is a weird, I think about legacy a lot. My parents passed away, and they because they're from the generation, there's like not much left of them, because there weren't phones, there was like, there's not much video or anything. And I'm like, when you get, that was just before I had kids, so it was like, I started thinking a lot about what I will leave, that kind of thing. And I thought, actually having a shelf full of my favorite films, like, I love the idea that my kids one day might see a box and look in and be like, this is like what dad loved, and I'm going to watch these. Like, I love that idea. They can get to know me through that. So that's a big part of it as well. And I think the VHS just felt kind of unique and special. And but it just had that link to the past for me.
Oh, that's amazing. And so with that being said, like movies and music and stuff like such a big impact in your life, do you have like a top favorite like movie or artist per se? Because I did see some of your stuff, like you had Mac Miller was a big thing, Kendrick Lamar, I saw some like horror movie genres was a big thing with the anime is also. So like, what's your favorites?
Oh yeah, it's a good, quite a bit of a letterbox top 5. I should have been ready for that. Yeah. I would say I should look at my VHS, because I will have made it. I have like a mix of favorites from like the Stalker. It's like a Russian, Andrei Tarkovsky film that I remember seeing when I was like 22, and just being blown away by it. There's maybe some classics that I grew up with, like Dazed and Confused, and films that like just we lived with. And then Arrival, I think, is a beautiful film. What's it called? Life is Beautiful. That's one of my favorite films of all time, about the dad in the Nazi camp who's just being a great dad. I watch that now. I'm a dad, but I watched it like I watched the other day. I hadn't watched Interstellar since having kids, and I was just recording one, and it was at the scene where he says goodbye to his daughter.
Yeah.
And I just saw it, and I was the audio was off. It was on the CRT next to me, and I was like, I might watch that scene again. It's so well acted. I was thinking like that, and I turned the volume on, and I went, when you're like, you're just like, you've gone, like, gone.
You can't control yourself.
Yeah, and I was in here, and I was like, it felt like this fundamental thing was like coming out, like like something physical was there, and I was just broken after it. I was broke, and I was like, and I love that. I love it when you see stuff that can hit you like that.
The other thing I wanted to dive into was like, it seems like you were on a content journey to get to this point to do the VHSs. Can you explain how it went from like doing the video gaming with your friend with 7 Ways to Die to like all of a sudden the cardboard like arcade that you did, and then now to where you're at?
You spotted my YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no one else has seen that, because I've never actually done YouTube as a thing. So I when it was COVID, or just pre-COVID, I'd set up this like games night once a week for like 10 of us, 10 friends who knew each other in real life but lived apart. Some of them like were, didn't really game, so I'd send them a PC from my arcade to like, and be like, okay, I sent about 3 PCs out to like friends and said, okay, for the next 3 months we're playing 7 Days to Die once a week, and I recorded it all. And my idea was just I edited it as a hobby, just a really fun thing. And when I still watch them back and just fucking smile, because it was such nice times with really good friends, and I post them on YouTube, but I wasn't thinking like, I didn't edit them in the sense that this could take off, and I knew nothing. And this was I didn't even have an Instagram then, or anything like that. And I didn't do any of this stuff. I just like the idea of them existing. And I've still got like hours of footage, and I keep meaning to post the whole thing just to have it as, and the arcade was, I think I did have a thing of like, I hope this goes somewhere, but I didn't really know where it would go, because it was mostly just videos of the stuff I was doing physically. So I needed a trailer for the arcade, and the video game stuff was like, I like posting. I think I did watch a bit on Reddit on like posting on YouTube, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool if this went somewhere. But yeah, I don't think I ever took it seriously or really thought about it properly. It was more like a hope. You know, when you post something and you're like, I think
Yeah.
this is really funny and we're a good crew. And a lot of us come from a comedy background. I met at circus school, and like it's a really funny crew, you know. So I was like, I felt really lucky that we got to make like some really good laughable times.
The gaming streaming thing that you did with your friends, was those the same friends that you did like the game show improv with, and like that, like kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
like
cool. You
I
bring the show up. That's cool. It was
cool.
based around like these three people trapped in a video game with loads of references and circus and stuff. And so that was the same crew. Yeah, we made that. We even got a chance to like tour it and take it to Edinburgh Fringe and, you know, do all this stuff with it. And that was my favorite, like some of my favorite times ever. And I really miss that, you know, like that being in the studio, devising, creating work. And I try and bring that energy into here a bit. I'm trying to see social media as like that. And
what advice would you give to somebody that's on their content creation journey, or maybe on their journey to make a creative like
yep.
art style business?
Yep.
What would you give them an advice if you were to give them anything?
Got a lot of followers lately, you know. I was a long time just, you know, in the thousands kind of thing. And, you know, that and I just hit 40K like last week. And
Congratulations.
which is, you know, yeah, it's like a stadium. It's crazy. But like I think one of the things that it's easier to do now, I suppose, with that many, but in the past I've always said, don't be just making stuff trying to get new people. Like if I have 100 followers, imagine all of those people are there waiting for me to say something to them. So like talk about something that might not be interesting to new people, but it's interesting to them. And it gives me such a boost to make content, because I don't need to make videos just to try and get new people. And, you know, that's part of it. And that's fine to be conscious and be like, this video might do well, or this video did well, so I'm going to make a similar one. But I really think it's important to remember that. And I found doing lives, you know, I find it hard to do lives because once there's more than like 5 people there, I start feeling like they're in the room with me, and suddenly I'm like 5 people in the room with me asking me questions is way too many. You know, I'm suddenly I'm like once I think I got 10 people in the live who were all active, and I had to start ignoring people, and I was like, shit, you know, this is horrible. It's like,
yeah, you feel bad.
Yeah. I was like,
no,
I had to ignore that guy, and it was an interesting question, you know. It's like, so yeah, I think remembering that as you do it and having that enjoyment, yeah, and respecting that, like, fuck, if you have 100 people following you, that's pretty fucking cool. You know, like that's an awesome thing. There's 100 people, random people around the world who are interested in what you're doing. You know, like you should be, you know, you should value that.